All right, y'all. So part two of the Global Dokkan campaign is rapidly approaching, and we're still waiting for like potential Vegeta Trunks CZA details if that would happen. But we are very close to part two. Again, part two banners themselves should be dropping like on the 24th, 25th. You know, depending on where you live in the world. The 25th if you're like in Europe and etc. 24th if you're like in the Americas. But we're very soon going to be getting like an announcement probably for like the stream that's upcoming and things like that. So lots of information. I mean, even tonight I think is a really good spot. It's where we'll see if we're gonna actually get easy Vegeta Trunks. But with part two upcoming, I want to kind of throw up a little throw up, what am I saying? I just want to throw out a little bit of hype and get people riled up and excited for what easy ace we could see. And we're gonna start off with the big man himself, Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This is by far one of the most anticipated Extreme Z Awakenings to be happening. They have been holding on to this guy for a very long time. I believe he is what, like the third oldest, no, is he the second oldest premium character that has not received an Extreme Z Awakening? I'm pretty sure he's like in there, top three, I know for sure. I mean, I could probably bring up again the good old Misaka chart as always. The EZA chart is just super useful. Here it is right here. Yeah, right here we could see is the second oldest premium character without an Extreme Z Awakening after Angel Clone Frieza. So it's very odd that they haven't done his EZA. Now that we know part 2 is more than likely going to be around the GT part of the series, this guy's EZA dropping would just absolutely be perfect. I think it would make a lot of sense. You know, if the new alert is attack Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta instead of a standalone Gogeta, this character would be really good. But I designed him in a way, I personally think we will be seeing a standalone Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So I did design this guy in that kind of thought process. But also I made him in mind with the new type of fights I feel like we have, where it's very predicated on attack lowering. I think it's very important to, you know, be strong really early on. We also know that part 2 fights are going to be longer fights too. So with that in mind, I would say, you know, it is also important for this guy to have some sort of viability later on in the fights. So I did believe I made a good blend, but I was really thinking about this Goku Black and Zamasu kind of fight here when designing this character first and foremost. Then secondly, I was thinking of like, you know, maybe kind of a longer Jiren type fight. You guys get what I'm saying there. Overall, I think this guy will be really good. They haven't really, at least to me, like a Fused Fighters EZA, like they've been nailing it. A lot of people don't like the Int Fusion Zamasu here. I'm a fan. I mean, personally, I think he's really good. So, I mean, if we take a look here, this guy is great. Super EZA Vegeta Blue is great. Kale and Caulifla is great. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is great. The Year 7 Gods are really good. STR Super Gogeta is quite good now, honestly. I think he's better than people give him credit for, to be honest. This guy is kind of eh. I think he's like the one fumble. He's still like decent though. But yeah, I mean they've been nailing it. So especially Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta EZA, I think that they will play it safe than not play it safe. I think an easy way to make this guy good as well is if like they give him stacking. But I kind of am thinking they might not give him stacking. I think there's, again, two ways to take it, which is designing him more around this fight or designing him for long fights with stacking. But I don't know. I feel like this guy, based on his design, they might kind of keep him as a shorter event character. But we'll go ahead and take a look here. And we'll also take a look at some of the comments left here. I did tweet this out. What, the 14th? Goodness, yeah, I'm barely getting around to this. There's quite a lot to talk about. So, I mean, let's really hop right into things with my concept here for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Again, taking this as a baseline, we'll see. So, in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, easy a concept here. So, for the super attack effect, I gave a pretty interesting change here. This isn't 100% attack and defense raise, and I did make an increase for 4 turns. We're going to see a lot in this concept that 4 is very prominent in this, just because Super Saiyan 4. I think they kind of might be a little silly with that. I mean, we saw with this guy's kit, 4 here, 4 here. We saw 4 attacks received, 40% attack and defense in the active skill, minus 40% attack and defense debuff. Like, there's a lot of 4 kind of stuff going on here. So that's why I went ahead and gave him a 4 turn, 100% raise. Because I'm like, I feel like if they're going to realistically make a change to the super attack effect, I would assume a 4 turn raise would be ideal. But with how hard these bosses are hitting, I almost think like a 100% 4 turn raise, that just feels right for like a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I mean, we've seen the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta also have a 4 turn massively raise attack and defense raise here. So I'm like, I think this would be a pretty good super attack effect, honestly. 4 turn massive raise, and it'd be really, really nice for his counter attacks. It would directly power those counters, which just is also good too. So basic effects. I gave him a similar ability to, like, again, Super Saiyan 4 LR Gogeta here, except instead of damage reduction for the turn, he does get guard for 1 turn. So the thing about this character is that we know based off of his active skill condition, he's a character that wants to receive 4 or more attacks in battle. Unfortunately, this is not going to be changed to where it's like evading as well, but you know, getting the active skill could be really, really huge. So I think having this guy as like a building up character is a way that I thought about making him. But to make sure that he's able to be completely safe on the very first turn, I gave him the guard ability because he's going to be missing a lot of these multiplicative stats. In case like he gets hit with a super attack instantly, he'll still be pretty good, right? Key +4, I moved from the turn restriction just to baseline. Don't really think there's a reason for that to be turn restricted at this point. I mean, again, this guy's 5 years old, so he was made with 5 years ago in mind. I think at this point, key should just be a thing that he gets. Then I made his 200% attacking defense 400% attacking defense, which is pretty high for start of turn. I feel like we very rarely see 400%. Like again, we've started to see 300% pop up more often than not. I believe even Fusion Zamasu has 300%, does it not? No, he has 200%. But like for example, I think the only character that I remember at the top of my head that actually has 400% start of turn is this full power Jiren, right? He has 400% here, then he has 111% attacking here. And again, obviously, you know, the start of turn stats don't really matter much if you don't have a lot of multiplicative stats in there. But it's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, man. Give him 400%. Why not? Super effective against all types, or just in his baseline kit now. 44% damage reduction. And then all enemies will receive a 14% attack and defense debuff again. That debuff is in mind of this fight right here, but also we can consider the Infinite Zamasu fight, I guess it could be one. I think that we'll see a lot of other debuffable bosses in the rest of the celebration. They seem to really be leaning back on, like, you know, oh, not allowing these bosses to be attack debuffed, but giving them some like kind of crazy abilities. We also see that, you know, even in Battle Hardened Formidable Foes earlier this year, those bosses were able to be attack debuffed and even in the first phase stunned. So they've been very lenient on attack debuffs this year, especially. Defense debuffs don't really matter right now, unfortunately, because, I mean, critical hit exists. That's even going to be another video I'm going to make. Kind of funny, but I think critical hit, they kind of made a mistake with it early on and when developing Dokkan, but we'll talk about that later. It's me getting off topic here. A 14% debuff is really good, and the reason why it isn't any higher is because of the active skill. Like if I made like I guess you could make this like a 24% debuff, but I feel like it's not really too necessary. 14% is still better than nothing, and I think it is pretty nice. Because even then, on this active skill turn, they're gonna be debuffed by 54% here. That's gonna be very nasty. Especially on turns where Goku Black's full up. And I don't know, I feel like 14% is fine, especially for a start of turn effect where you don't have to hit the enemy. We've seen characters with, I'm gonna change this. Mid recording change. I always end up changing things mid recording, but why not? Just make them better. 24% damage reduction, or not damage reduction, 24% attack and defense lower. I think that's pretty good, honestly. And again, keeping in with the 4 theme. Yeah. I think this just helps out quite a bit. But again, very nice set of basic effects here. Then I did change this from being 8 turns to 10 turns, just kind of increasing that a little bit. And obviously, pre-ZA, this guy had the 4 key 40% stats and then super effective pre, like for the first 3 turns. I did just give him completely new abilities here. For the first 10 turns, he has a guaranteed critical hit chance. So again, the super effective against all types will be nice after turn 10, but kind of doesn't really matter. I just kind of moved it there because it was already in his kit. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. And then 14% additional damage reduction. So for the first 10 turns, this guy will actually be at 58% damage reduction, which is a pretty high number, especially in turn 1 with the guard ability. And we got to keep in mind he also has the 70% chance to counter as well. I guess kind of spoiled that, but he has the counter in his kit, even pretty easy. So he has a lot of ways to combat super attacks with the attack lowering, the damage reduction, right? Then from the 11th turn, he still has a 50% chance to crit and 4% reduction. 4% reduction sounds so funny. I mean, 48% reduction is still a pretty decent number. Definitely not like, as crazy as 58%. But, we also can consider later on in fights, you'll also have Agile Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who will give 10% reduction and 70% defense. So, like if you somehow take this guy into longer and longer fights, it could even out. But realistically, the only fight I see lasting beyond turn 11 is like Festival of Battles. And this guy is not designed with Festival of Battles in mind, so it doesn't really matter, right? Then here are where his multiplicative stats come in. 44% attack and defense up to 200%. And then chance of performing a critical hit, 14% up permanently. I actually had this in before I gave him the guaranteed credit. So let's also ignore that. Look, I'm not perfect, okay? You guys gotta realize sometimes I mess up. It's just gonna happen, okay? It is what it is, Anyways, 44% attack and defense, multiplicative above up to 200%. I feel like 200% multiplicative attack and defense is just a standard. This guy has higher than usual start of turn attack and defense. I mean, this maybe could be a little higher, but considering the massive raise here, considering the debuff here, the guard, the damage reduction, guaranteed crits, like, he doesn't need that much, right? The only thing about this character is that he doesn't really have any additional super attacks in his kit so far. But again, he does have the counter here. When receiving a super attack, he has a 70% chance of nullifying it and countering with tremendous power. Now, this used to be a 50% chance. Changing it to 70% is always going to be a really good thing. I did consider giving him an ability similar to this, where in certain situations he can actually guarantee the nullification and counter. I mean, we've seen a lot of different characters kind of have these abilities where they have the chance to counter it, but then in certain situations they will guarantee to counter it. And again, the 3 most recent units to kind of have that besides Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, in Fusion Zamasu, he has the chance to guarantee counter the unarmed super. Tao has just a 70% chance, actually, my bad. Saiyan also, again, has a high chance to nullify and counter Ki Blast supers, and then he guaranteed nullifies and counters, the Ki Blast supers if there's a Kamehameha enemy. But this guy is a character that counters any super attack. It doesn't have to be unarmed, it doesn't have to be Ki Blast, etc. So him being a universal counter character, I feel like there's not really a need for him per se to guarantee to counter attack those supers. So I think it's okay for him not to actually get that type of ability. Not necessary at all for him. I think the 70% chance to counter is definitely more than fine. But here's where things can get really crazy. After activating the active skill, he will be able to launch an additional guaranteed super attack for 4 turns. That's going to be very nasty, right? The active skill turn is where this guy is going to be really insane, because keep in mind, the active skill turn not only gives him a multiplicative 40% attack and defense buff, but does debuff all enemies by 40%. Really good right now on how the game currently is. This 40% buff is going to be insane by itself. This guy will be doing crazy amounts of damage once he actually gets that off. But we also consider this guaranteed additional super attack here. That's going to be pretty nasty. Especially considering, again, this is an 100% raise. I think that's going to make his defensive numbers shoot way, 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 way up. Now, really looking at this guy's kit, I think maybe there's somewhere where I could add potentially more attack percentage. Like, because again, we see Tao. Tao's at 200%, 400% when attacking. Then, you know, that's per Rainbow Keys for obtained. I'm not sure about what kind of damage Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to be doing here. Maybe I could add an additional, I don't know, for the first 10 turns, he gets an additional 144% attack or something. I think if he needs to do more damage, that's something I would do. Because again, for the most part, he will be only doing one super attack. But at the same time, I feel like this guy's role isn't mainly to be a damage dealing character. He's just an extra character to help fill out this like GT Heroes team, while being a very safe option to run. He's definitely leaning more towards defensive in my opinion, with the counter, with the active skill debuff, with the start of turn debuff, the damage reduction guard. Like, he's leaning more towards a defensive character that can do damage when he uses the active skill for a couple of turns. That's the idea I have for him. Not that he's going to do bad damage, especially if you do get this guy a full additional build. Like, he's going to be looking really crazy on the active skill turn. I think these will be really, really nasty. So again, this is kind of what I would like to see from him for the most part. I gave him a lot of different abilities. And again, I did try to keep a general aspect of what he was pre-EZA in his kit, whilst giving him more modern abilities at the same time, changing a few things up. So, I mean, we'll see how exactly that can work. But again, like I said, I feel like attack debuffs really prominent right now, more than people are giving it credit for. He will have the consistent damage no matter what with the guaranteed crits, consistent damage here with the additional super attack, but also buffing his defense even higher. And this guy is like, again, he's gonna be, as you see, since it's a 4-turn raise, he's probably gonna be more so of a slot 3 character. Well, he'll come around every like 3rd turn, which will allow his 4-turn raise to actually stay consistently up. So like, for example, he'll be on turn 1, then turn 4, then turn 7. Like, you guys kind of see the point where he'll have that 4-turn raise still stick with him, right? So that's gonna be pretty good. But yeah, again, I hope he's something like this. I think they could also go the other way, be like, oh, he's just gonna stack attack and defense like Kel and Caulifla. That's just an easy way to make him good. Like, if they just are like, yeah, you know, let's just take the easy way out and let's just make them stack. Like, they could do that. Like, it very, very possible we'll end up doing something like that. But I would say it's very possible that this guy's easy just drops with the part 2 banners, right? I mean, we did see in the same data download, we had physical Vegeta Blue and STR, what? EGR Rose Super Easies in the data. So like, usually part 2 also does drop with like an Extreme Z Awakening, whether it's an EZA or a Super EZA. So I could very much see this guy like just dropping this week. So that's why I'm doing the video on him now. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the replies here. Let's see what some people are thinking. Again, we got a lot of replies to this compared to usual because he's a relevant EZA. I did see some of the comments though, and some people are being goofy. I want real answers. I don't want, oh, it'd make them good. Tell me what you want, please. Anyways, let's take a look here. I'm very emotional, I think, during this month. I feel like I'm just very passionate about Dokkan, which is really good. I love Dokkan. I've been a very long time player, and for me still be so invested into this game makes me very happy, and I hope you guys do appreciate the content too. Maybe it's also the music in the background really making me like, you know. Yes, this is what I mean. Like, come on, okay, you can make a real answer. Orb changer at the start, since the unit putting him with is the physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, they don't orb change. I think that's fair. Again, let's take a look at like the GT Heroes team. Though we do have 2 orb changers around. We have the GT Super Saiyan Goku and the GT Super Saiyan Vegeta. We do have 2 relevant orb changers early on, so I don't really think it's necessary for this guy to orb change. But like, if you're thinking of outside the GT Heroes team, like let's say the Fused Fighters team, it would be nice to have like a super class orb changer, because like if we think about Fuse Fighters, like who's orb changing that's super class here? Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is like the only one here. It would be cool to have another option. I think Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks actually has aged pretty nicely for the most part. Like you could actually get away with him in the new fight. It's just a little dangerous with the AoE because he's type disadvantage against Goku Black here. Like this guy, or I closed it, but the Goku Black demolishes this guy sometimes. But yeah, I think it's not a bad idea. I just don't really think it's necessary. I mean, maybe it could be like when using the active skill, he'll have orb changing. But actually, that kind of sucks. It would probably be this can make him orb change probably for the first few turns, like this right here. I think that'd be fine too. Yeah, this is just the meme. Doesn't die, all of it. Fuck you, you know, yeah. Yeah, the one busted Super Saiyan 4 good. Literally, what? This is the image that people are talking about. I mean, hey. This would be pretty good. This would be pretty. We would love this. For sure. Replies are frying you. Yeah. 90% reduction, guard. Okay, yeah. 100% chance to counter super attack. 5,000%. Okay, buddy. Yeah, just, thanks. Thank you! I like how I can't even, like, read. I assume this is French. I can't read French. But, like, I just know Dokkan terminology so well that I can bypass the language sphere. This is probably also because I translate the JP Dokkan, like, translation. But obviously, Japanese is way different than French. But, like, I mean, to be fair, like, what do you think this is gonna mean, guys? Oh, I don't know. For guaranteed, yeah. That's so funny. Okay. Anyways, we would design it to be good, yeah. Again, yeah. Stack 50% attack and defense, counter 70%. Very basic. But good. Thank you, Abu. Look, I see, at least, you know, Abu, I'm liking you. At least you gave me something. Like, come on! This is an answer! You guys are ripping my content away from me. Anyways, thank you, Rocket, for this concept here. Let's take a look here. Very much W. I'm gonna like it because it's an actual reply. So, massive race for 1 turn. P2 300% attack and defense, 44% reduction. Effective. 44% reduction before attacking. Pretty good, honestly. 44% attack and defense when attacking. For 10 turns, key 2 and 44% attack and defense. Guaranteed crit. Super attack additional guaranteed. Launches or guards. For the 11th turn, high chance to crit additional with a high chance to become a super. Against a super attack, great chance of nullifying and counters with tremendous power. For 2 turns, foresees enemy super attack and all allies 44% attack and defense. That's pretty busted. But you know what? Why not? Really good. Very good EZA. Arguably better than mine. Actually, I would say. Yeah. This is probably better than the one I made. But yeah. Maybe. Is it? I mean, I have the 4-turn race. It's pretty gross. 444%, yeah. 4 additional attacks, okay. Here's a roadie concept. Let's take a look here. Let's see what this is. 4%. Oh, they could give him the Glorio. Actually, I would really like that, to be honest. Like, greatly race 4 turns, and then 4% attack and defense battle. That is the Glorio effect, which if you guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Glorio has stacking in his like kit, but it's 6% defense and 9% attack. Give him this 4% attack and defense, that'd be pretty good. Actually, that is a good idea. Key 2, 240% attack and defense, super effective. For 4 turns, 40% reduction, 40% attack and defense, and then additional super attack guaranteed. For 8 turns, he has guard, key 2 and 40% attack and defense. High chance to nullify and counter supers, 140% attack and defense, like basically when receiving an attack for defense, when attacking for attack. 40% attack and defense when collecting 4 or more key spheres. He will gain 40% reduction back after performing 4 or more supers. Then, for every 4 super attacks performed, he won 40% attack and defense and then launches an additional, which has a high chance to become a super. So at the 12 super text, he has this. So this definitely feels more of a, like, I feel like this is a good idea where it's like, again, obviously he's usable in shorter content, but he's really good in long content. This is definitely leaning more towards like a longer event character, which I feel like if I design him with long content in mind, I would actually probably have made something somewhat similar to this. So I think this is a pretty good concept. I would be quite satisfied if he looked like this as well. I mean, yeah, this comment 70% counter. I would just make it a 70% counter. I don't think it has to be just a high chance, but yeah. AJOS retreatment, I doubt it. Yeah, 100. Yeah, pretty good. Well, look at these. You know what? I don't. Okay, so this is playable on Eclipse, you're saying, which is, I think, a private server available. Oh my goodness, this is quite a long thing to read, I think. Okay, well, key for 240% supports. I'm not gonna read all of this at this point because I'm like, my throat's getting dry. We're 25 minutes in. Gulp. That's crazy. So, you know, if you want to read it, you can pause and read it. But I will be reading it here. Oh, you guys start a turn here. 40% reduction. Okay. Well, we're receiving an attack. Guards all attacks for 4 turns. Is there like a reason for it to be 4 turns? Like it doesn't, like this, or the defense? I guess the defense 4 turns. Well, technically, with how this is worded, I mean, since, well, I guess it's when receiving, so this would activate after, but the, well, okay. I assume this is like, you receive the attack and it's activated instantly though, so like, there's not really a reason to specify for 4 turns. Like, you're not gonna have double guard. The double defense, I guess, could activate twice, but yeah. The additional super attack would also, I think, activate twice, maybe? I'm not sure, actually. Okay. So yeah, this is a busted concept. 8% reduction to these categories too, yeah. Wait, per rainbow key sphere? Bruh. See, this is, I wouldn't expect an easy, like, stupid. Oh, we have an actual concept. This will be the last one I read, probably, just because my throat is like low-key dying, and I'm like, I want like a water after this, bro. I feel like I yell a lot. Anyways, 80% reduction for 8 turns, guaranteed crits, stats, just stats. 50% reduction after that, super effective, and then loses stats. More starter turn stats, attack on super, defense and hit, guaranteed double supers. Great chance to nullify counter instead of high. Greatly stack attack and use 4 turns. I genuinely get the concept here. 80% reduction is crazy, but you know what? I could see them doing it. Yeah. Anyways, let me know what you guys are thinking. What you would like to see from this guy's EZA. Probably this week, maybe, question mark. I mean, we'll see. Who knows? It would be really funny if it's not even GT. I really do think it's GT. Like, the Omega art screams to me that it's going to be this celebration, because like, when will they drop like a Dokkan Festival or Omega? Like, it would have to be like anniversary, but it's just like such a far time away. I don't think that they would have that ready. I think the art was up because, again, I've seen a lot of people saying, you know, oh, is Omega for later? It's not like a 0% chance that Omega will be later, but again, keep in mind, we do have the burst mode for this event. I think what happened is that they just fucked up and put like the art for the part 2 burst mode in there too. Like, they just messed up when they were preparing this burst mode. Like, it happens. They're human. It is very funny that, like, we had both part 2 Dokkan Fest for both anniversary celebrations leaked this year. Though technically, like, okay, being fair, the Super Gogeta leak was like obviously in the files, so they're like illicit methods. But the Omega one was in game, so like it was server end uploaded like in game. So it wouldn't be something that we would be able to like necessarily dig into the files and see unless they like made it visible, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess I don't really know for sure. I'm not a data miner. Ask Proton or Rick or someone really. I'm not like diving into the data. Maybe I should. I don't really care that much. We'll let them post it. Anyways, I'm done here. I'm done. I appreciate y'all for watching. 30-minute video, dude. I'm insane. I actually don't know how I do it. Peace out, y'all.